And we're back for round 5, game 2, where Casey took down round 1. Now we've got a little bit of info about what they sideboarded, Trent, if you want to keep us up to date on that.
So we looked at the sideboard and Luke went pretty deep. He took out the 4 Barblights and 3 Thoughtseers from the main deck to replace it with 2 Elspeth, 1 Nissa Worldwaker, 3 Glare of Heresy, and a +1 Hero's Downfall.
So what does that tell us about where he's leading to?
Obviously the late game. He really wants that to shore up his late game. Make sure he has ample removal for all the threats in the form of exile and being, Glare just seems like a super good card in this matchup. I was actually just discussing it with yours truly, and it hits everything pretty much. Like outside of Death Dealer, Nissa Worldwaker.
There's the 1 remaining Thoughtseize left in his deck.
Yeah, if anyone's going to do it.
So he's taken out 4 Bile-Blights and 3 of the 4 Thoughtseize in the main, and he holds the top Thoughtseize. Gets it in his opening hand.
It's a pretty good Thoughtseize too.
That's mad. Yes. Where did Casey go with his sideboarding?
So Casey went down 4. He took out a Fleecemane Lion, a Rakshasa Death Dealer, and 2 Bile-Blights to go up in. Also 3 Glare of Heresy and the +1 Nissa Worldwaker.
So do we have to think that he was only playing 2 in the main deck, Bile-Blights?
2 Biles.
Otherwise, would have they all just come out? Or has he kept them in there for the Fleecemane Lion, Death Dealer?
I'm not entirely sure, as I obviously haven't seen the deck list, but I do know he was running ample amounts of Bile-Blights. We did see it in a camera match, not in round 2 or
well, we only saw 2 then as well in round
2. So maybe only 2, but and I don't believe I've seen any more from sideboarding.
And so the Thoughtseize here looks at Glare of Heresy, Nissa, which it now takes, Wingmate Rock, a Charm, and 3 lands.
Luke has a Glare of Heresy of his own, so I think that decision is weighted on the fact that he can deal with any other card in Casey's hand.
Yep. His main removal at this stage is Glare of Heresy.
Yeah.
And he can't get rid of Nissa, obviously.
That's right. That's exactly correct.
So even though Nissa is very late game, it's a minimum turn 6.
Yeah, turn 5, make a tap, dude.
Yeah.
I suppose it's like okay if the board's open, but you're generally not what you want to be doing.
Yeah, but you can't otherwise sort of get rid of it outside of a Hero's Downfall or attacking into it. So
yeah, not in this matchup. Obviously, Glare doesn't hit the duo green Nissa.
So we've had a good look at Casey's hand. We've got a Windswept Heath there, I think, a Glare of Heresy, an Offenser, and coming out with the Death Dealer from Luke.
Also, the Death Dealer, as opposed to the Unoffenser, he does know that Casey has that Glare of Heresy and wants to maybe try and protect his Unoffenser. I think he also knows that Casey does have an Abzan Charm, so he does have 2 answers for the Unoffenser.
Yeah.
No answer for Death Dealer though, so just opting to play a little safer and obviously paying off here. I don't think he has to.
Rather than trying to play through the 2 remaining spells.
That's right. Oh, an Unoffenser return. So this is.
So that's probably going to hit the Glare of Heresy that's currently in.
There is an Abzan Charm there, so that's an interesting one. We'll see which way Luke goes. I don't think Unoffense is going to hang around. She's going exile one way or another. Which one would you use? I'm not entirely sure. I think.
Well, I'd be using the Glare of Heresy. It's the line for Glare of Heresy is much smaller than the Abzan Charm, in my opinion, against the Abzan deck, where a lot of those guys are just bigger.
Yep.
Also, you can use the Abzan Charm to draw more cards, or get you out of strife with the lifelink.
Yep.
So I'd be going with the Glare of Heresy.
Sure. Yeah, and that's exactly what he does.
I'm glad he proved me right.
Yeah.
That would have looked like a fool there for a second.
No, I think that's correct. I think Abzan Charm's a little more giving in the ways of whichever way it can go. He does miss his land drop though. Luke stumbles a tiny bit. It's generally not what you want to be doing, especially with the board in the double Elspeth Nissa kind of. And
we know Casey's got plenty of land. I still believe he's got 1 more land in his hand.
There's a Citadel on top of sitting on top of his hand. So Scry's at the top.
Unfortunately, not much Corsair action So we don't know what they're drawing. We're sort of guessing a lot of the time.
No courses on the top table. Not this game. I believe we've had some. Charles Matthews in round 3 was playing courses against me, I believe. But I don't think there's too many courses getting around at the moment, especially in these lists.
And so we've got life totals at 16 versus 15 at the top of the board. I'll have to fix that dice at some point in time, so the 15s...
Yeah, you're going to paint that 5 up.
That's right.
So I know a pretty good painter. He could probably do that.
Work that in for me. For you guys that don't know, Trent here, his profession is painting.
No, I'm a painter. I'm not a Magic player, unfortunately.
Oh, and we've got a Siege Rhino on the top of the deck there.
Yeah,
so
scry the top?
Yeah, Scry left it on the top. Showed us the Siege Rhino, which was very nice.
I'm going to draw 2, lose 2. Okay, I'm going to draw 2, lose 2.
Yep.
I'm going to find that. There we go. We've got the number.
Did he just go... Oh, he took 1 from the caves.
Yeah, I think he took 3. Yep.
Yeah, had to took one from the
Painful
caves.
draw 2, but it's not the worst. I don't think Luke's upset to see that either. Luke did know it was there, and he has been playing around it for like the entire game, obviously.
Yep. And it's not an overwhelming board position, only with the death.
Yeah,
death
well, he can't deal with the death dealer. Luke knows about the Upzone Charm. He's not going to pump that thing, not without knowing that he can get in for free. So,
well, that Upzone Charm is now gone,
replaced by the Rhino.
So going up to 15.
I would love to count the amount of rhinos that we have from like start to finish.
Yeah.
And see who gets the most. I think Casey gets a couple of games. I think Luke gets a couple of games.
I think it'd be interesting to count them in total to see over the 9 rounds how many Siege Rhinos actually get played.
And today, they took down Siege Rhino. Took down, was it Grand Prix somewhere in America with the pod list and
and so now
the Siege Rhino.
So now the Abzan Charm comes out, gets rid of the Siege Rhino, and we know Luke has now drawn one, so he can follow up with his own.
Back and forth.
If anyone's got a little OCD out there and wants to count all the Siege Rhinos for us, let us know in the comments.
No, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. There's too many of them.
It's not something I'm about to do anyway.
It's like, yeah, he's a bro, but...
And here comes out the aforementioned Siege Rhino to change those life totals back.
Yeah, cool.
So 16 versus 10. I like how they've changed it so we can read them nicely rather than facing themselves.
Good on Luke. That would be Luke.
We do appreciate that.
He was very good on that, actually. You did my life totals as a
So
he happily changed it to 0 for me.
What have we got now in Casey's hands? It looks like he's considering a Brimaz.
That's a Glare, a Wingmate Rock, an Herb Bog, and another run. I don't believe I see Brimaz. That's a Glare of Heresy.
Oh, Glare of Heresy, right.
Yeah, and there it is.
Taking care of the Rhino, exiling it.
Third Rhino, second Rhino for this game.
So exiling is not a bigger issue in this matchup. Because nothing really comes back from the graveyard. No one's playing
Murderous Cut is played in these lists, so that can potentially be a thing.
Yep. Obviously.
But like generally at this stage of the game, you're going to have
enough
cards in the graveyard. And I don't think they're playing an ample amount. Like, it's not like a Reanimator list where they're playing 4 to 3. I think they may have played 1, 2. There's the Murderous Cut there. So.
Yep. So takes out 4 of those 5 cards of the graveyard with the Delve. There's no thought of playing Whip in the sideboard?
I think it's more of an archetype now as people are playing Albzan Reanimator. And it has been for quite some time, but not generally in this kind of deck.
Yep.
It's just like you're not playing Satir Wayfinder, you're not playing like Doomwake Giants, and especially you're not playing Hornet Queen. Like if you Hornet Queen and Whip,
it would certainly go hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas these cards are like pretty aggressive. Whipping them back doesn't really get you any into the battlefield effects. So.
Yep. So Casey coming out with a temple there and scrying another temple to the bottom of his library.
For drawing extra cards, his hand's rather light. I suppose he has made his land drops pretty effectively. I think we're going to see a lonely... No, that's an Anafenza. A good one.
Well, versus the Anafenza, you can see the Hero's Downfall there in Luke's hand, which might come out next turn, I would suggest, depending on his draw, and then come through for 6 damage.
7
damage.
with the trigger of Unoffensive.
Ah, very nice.
So, and maybe even more now with that 5th land drop, he can downfall. Can he downfall Pump? What's the second land? There's a plane, so I don't believe he can downfall and Pump.
And the other card in his hand is another Death Dealer.
Unless there's no Urborg on the field, no.
So there's the hero's downfall.
It's the bin.
Come through with both bros.
Oh, you can Pump hero, can opt to play the same.
And Pump.
Mm.
That would be my play, but I'm a little greedy.
He might not even do anything, to be honest. He might be afraid of End Hostilities.
Yep.
Which is a card in these lists, but we'll obviously see what tells us what goes on.
So coming through for 7.
The clock's one way or another the same.
Yep.
So adding the Death Dealer to the board doesn't overly do a huge amount.
I certainly wouldn't be casting the Death Dealer.
No, he is.
He is. There we go. He's gone
for
it. He's gone end hostilities. I fear you not.
He answered these.
And he's just going to try and pump through as much as he possibly can.
Well, maybe he does know that Casey doesn't run in hostilities. I don't believe I've seen any in the sideboard.
Oh, we didn't certainly pick any up from the side.
What can happen here? Maybe an Elspeth can come down, make a couple of blockers, and save the board. And hostilities can obviously sweep out.
He's certainly counting up his mana, so he's got a play in mind. He's got 7 mana out there.
That's an 8.
There's 8.
It's a lot of mana. We're gonna play. We're gonna play Ugin.
Comes out with a pre-Fate Reforged, pre-release Ugin and wipes the board.
That's alright. That's not a bad follow-up there. It's probably it's pretty good.
Obviously, doesn't get his
it's
full value from the rock, but keeps him in the game.
It's gonna actually no. That's still lethal, unfortunately. Anyway,
4 damage with the pumping.
Yeah, there's no way he can block this effectively. So.
Yeah.
After game 3, well played.
Would have been nice to see Ugin.
Well, you got to spice things up. These Siege Rhino lists, they're just they're great, I suppose.
And we'll be back for game 3 very soon.